So here's a selection of some of the best junior stocks and shares ISA providers here in the UK for this year. As a very quick recap, you can put in a total of £9,000 per tax year for each of your children. So that's any time between April the 6th to April the 5th of the following year. And this allowance can be used in both a junior cash ISA or a junior stocks and shares ISA. Very similar to the rules around what we get as adults. Now, also worth noting that this is for anyone aged under 18 living in the UK, although there are a couple of exceptions here in this case. If you're interested, have a look here on the government website. Now, just to note that in this video, I'm only going to be talking about junior stocks and shares ISAs. I'll leave the cash ISAs, but many of the same platforms can also offer these as well. But to be honest, they're even simpler because you literally just put cash in and you let the interest roll in. Now, as with the adult versions, the benefit of these accounts is that any interest is tax-free and any gains from your shares or dividends are also completely tax-free. So if you're lucky enough to have some spare cash lying around and you love your kids, here's where you might want to start. Okay, first up, let's go to Vanguard, one of the biggest names in the investing business. Now, many of you will already be familiar with this company and might even have your own investments here on their platform or be investors in their funds on other platforms. Vanguard's platform directly is all based online. There's no fancy app, unfortunately, although this is rumoured to be in the works at some point, although we have been saying that now for quite a few years. You'll be able to choose from a wide selection of investments, which surprisingly enough are all Vanguard branded funds and ETFs. You will not find individual stocks and shares here, just be aware in case you did want that. Unfortunately, you won't be able to threaten to invest your kids' ISA money into a penny stock to make them clean up their room here, so sorry about that. Now, I'm not going to spend ages going through all of the options here, as I've got loads of videos on my channel that can help you already. In fact, this video about what some of my favourite Vanguard funds are will probably be a good place to go after this video. I'll make sure to leave a link in the description below as well. But safe to say there's plenty of choice, and to be honest, you can make it as simple or as complicated as you like, whether it's a single index fund that invests in the world or even just picking a few to make it just how you like. You'll be absolutely fine here. Also, just before we do talk about the all-important subject of what this thing costs, remember I'm not a financial advisor, so please do check everything yourself and make a decision that's right for you. And all the platforms I speak about here are all FCA regulated and protected by the Financial Services Compensation Scheme. So in the event that anything happens to the cash in these accounts, you are protected up to the value of £85,000 per person. Not that you'd manage to have that much money in a junior ISA anyway, but hey. Okay, so costs. Vanguard is pretty nice and simple and carries the same fees as if you're investing in a junior ISA, a pension, or an adult stocks and shares ISA. You have the platform fee, which is 0.15% per year based on the total amount invested. And then you have the fees of whatever fund that you choose. Now, the fees for the fund are always built in, so you don't see them, but the platform fee is something that you'll pay every quarter. And I personally just have mine set up to pay via direct debit. So if we make a quick example, let's say that you chose to invest in the FTSE Global All Cap Fund here. This one has fees of 0.23% a year built in, and then you need to factor in how much you had invested to work out your platform fee. So let's just say that you put in £1,000 across a year, 0.15% of that £1,000 is £1.50, and that's what you'd actually need to pay. And the 0.23% is something that automatically is factored into the rest of the price. Anyway, I hope that all makes sense, but it's generally pretty cheap and straightforward. You should read up on fees here on this part of their website for all of the details, as there are some small ones worth checking out. Now, one other thing to mention is that they do have minimum order amounts, so you should check this one as well. For example, on this same fund I was just talking about, it's £100 a month or £500 as a one-off. But as a side note, I'm not even sure that they police this properly, as I've invested smaller amounts before, so make of that whatever you will. Overall, a solid platform, pretty easy to use, low fees, and you can also manage your own accounts here too. So I don't think most people will be able to go too far wrong. Okay, next up, Hargreaves Lansdown. This is the biggest investing platform in the UK, if I'm not mistaken. It's a publicly listed company, and I'm sure many of you have heard about it as well. I personally used them for a number of years before I moved my investments around, and one of the biggest complaints has been their fees over the years. But you will be interested to know that for junior ISA accounts, things are very different. So in terms of choices of investments, you've got everything from funds to shares all over the world. There's very little I can think of that they don't sell through the platform. And there's also the app as well as the website that you can manage everything through. Now, I wouldn't say it's the fanciest platform or the easiest to navigate, but you can get used to it pretty quickly and it does do the job. I will also add that the customer service always gets good mentions here if you do need to call them up, which is a benefit from being a big company like Hargreaves Lansdown. Now, here's the biggest selling point here. Hargreaves Lansdown, as much as people might argue that they are expensive, me included, offer completely free junior ISA accounts. There's nothing hidden here, it's free. No cost to manage it, no platform fee, no trading fees, and you can buy whatever you want. Obviously, you would still have the cost of the fund. If you did choose a fund or an ETF, then those costs are not part of Hargreaves Lansdown. Those are baked into the fund itself. But if you wanted to hold some individual shares here, you could do that without absolutely no costs whatsoever. Now, clearly, there's no such thing as free, and they want to offer this service to get you as an adult customer and use their other services, but nothing is stopping you from just using them on their junior ISA and nothing else. Another quick thing worth mentioning here as well is that you do earn interest on cash inside your junior stocks and shares ISA too. So if you haven't yet decided what you want to invest in, or you want to avoid investments altogether, you can just sit there and those rates on screen now will be what you'll currently get. Do bear in mind that nothing here is kind of groundbreaking, but it's better than nothing, but do expect these rates to change if interest rates get lowered by the Bank of England. Anyway, hard to beat free here. All of the choices you could want, a fully featured platform, an online site, a phone app with great customer service if you do need it as well. I think this one might be a bit of a no-brainer here. I'll leave a link in the description below for all these companies, by the way. Some are affiliate links, so this does help support the channel to make more content like this, but it doesn't cost you a penny to use. Right, moving swiftly on, Fidelity is another option. I don't give these guys much love on the channel, but they are a huge brand in the investing world. Another big name with a great reputation globally, and they offer pretty much every kind of investing account here in the UK. Their junior ISA is another fully featured one, and by that I mean you can invest in everything from UK funds, global funds, ETFs and shares from all over the world. They offer both the app and the online login, so you can do everything on the go. Now, I can't say I've got any personal experience with this one, so you'll just have to figure that side out for yourself, whether it's easy to use or not. Now, onto the important bit, so we aren't just going over the same things for each one. Fees for Fidelity also look to be very good for the junior ISA when compared to their main adult accounts. As you can see on the fees and charges page, there is no account fee or no platform fee. And there's also no fee for investing into funds either. The only fees are the ones that are baked into the funds themselves, or if you want to start buying individual shares and ETFs. There's also a handy little calculator here for fees that you can work out yourself. So if you put in, say, £100 for example, and say you'll do 12 trades a year to simulate investing each month, it will show you that there is zero cost to do that into a fund. Now, if you choose to invest in individual stocks, you'll have to pay the dealing fee each time, and that will probably end up costing you quite a bit of money, as you can see here. If we choose that, we can see that it would end up being £90 for the year. So if you want to keep this one cheap, just find a nice low-cost index fund, and the only cost you'll have will be the ones baked into that fund. Just quickly on the whole topic of finding funds, there is a fund finder section here, which I found pretty useful, and you can use this one to help you. If you follow along on screen now, I'll show you how to get a nice low-cost global index fund and what kinds of things that you'd need to actually press. If this is something worth doing a whole video on, by the way, please do let me know in the comments section below, and do drop me a like on this video. It will really help this one out too if you found it useful so far. Anyway, have I done it yet? Future editor me will have to sort this one out, and hopefully it was worth it in the end. Okay, quick summary then. Another free option if you stick to funds, great brand recognition, good management options, and if you want to invest in adult accounts too, you can have it all in one place. So this could be a good option for you to also go with. Definitely worth checking out. Let me know in the comments if you already have an account here as well and what you think. Right, next up, I'm going to zip through these last two fairly quickly, as there's not a huge amount of differences between them all, and the only details really are in the fees and charges. So AJ Bell next, another big name in the industry, a fully featured platform, all of the options for investing in funds or shares here in the UK and all over the world as well. They offer all of the adult accounts as well as the junior ones, so if you really want everything in one place, this could be a good option for you. Now, in terms of junior ISA fees, here's what you need to know. So there is a platform fee here, now what they call a custody charge, and that's based on the total amount you have in the account and what it's actually invested in. So you can see here the costs are 0.25% annually, and then you also have a trading fee every time you invest. And it's going to change in April of 2024, so not too long away. It's going from £9.95 to £5 for a trade on shares, and there is a reduction if you're a frequent trader, but you'd need 10 deals in a month to get that. The cheapest option is investing in a fund, which is a £1.50 charge. So if you want to keep these costs low to their lowest, I'd invest either as a one-off lump sum for the year or as few times as you can, only using a low-cost index fund. You can see in the example page that an investment of just under £5,000 is costing £1 a month to manage, but then you also have to factor in the cost of making those trades. And if you click on the next box, you can see how it can add up. Anyway, this could be another option, but I think the only benefit here is really having one account for the whole family and everything in one place. Otherwise, I'm not seeing anything unique, but again, do let me know in the comments if you think differently and you have an account here as well. Okay, final one, last but not least, is Interactive Investor. All of the features are here. There's an online login as well as the app, and you also have the choice to invest in pretty much anything you want in a similar way that most of these have. The reason I've added this one on is if you do have quite a lot of money already invested into and on the platform of Interactive Investor, then you will already be paying their monthly fee, then you do get a junior ISA account for free. Now, without this, there is no way to open an account on its own, so this is only an option for existing customers really, if you do want one. And I think the only way this makes sense to me at least is if you have a big enough portfolio that a monthly cost makes it more economical when you compare it to some of the other platforms. So when you do add it all up together, you do get the junior ISA account as something that's free, and you actually do get one trade a month as for free as well as regular investing for free on top of that. Like everything else, the only fees will be built into any mutual funds that you choose to invest in. So grab a nice cheap one, and that will be how you keep your costs nice and low on this platform. Hope that will make sense. Right then, well, that about wraps things up. Obviously, there are more platforms out there, and you do have things like Wealthify, Money Farm, and Nutmeg, but these providers are all those managed ones, and if you do prefer that, you will have to pay a little bit more. Now, personally, I'm a big fan of trying to educate people about investing, so I'll always be a bigger fan of doing it yourself because I think with a small amount of knowledge, the vast majority of people can manage their own investments and do very well out of it as well. Now, I did say I'd give my thoughts at the end, and I think it's clear that from these choices, the cheaper the better is going to win out when it comes to investing. Everyone has a good reputation, and they're all big companies with plenty of choices to invest in, so it has to really come down to cost for me. That leaves two good options here then. Hargreaves Lansdown as a great one for being completely free, and even a place where you can deal in some individual shares if you really want to on behalf of your kids. And then Fidelity too has to be a close second. As long as you stick to funds, you can avoid any transaction costs as well. You don't get much for free nowadays, so I'd make the most of that for your kids. Maybe set up something on a regular basis and find something really simple to invest in. As I mentioned earlier, if you want some help choosing some of the best funds, I did a popular video here going through some good options from Vanguard that are available on any platform. So watch that one next, and I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, happy investing.